Hello everyone, I am Surrendalot Reviews, and I'm back, and ready to look at some more Generation 1 Transformers. But before I get started, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and if I can't convince you, perhaps this picture of my cats will convince you. And, random fact about my cat society is that it is illegal to talk smack about any revolution, but not about any revolutionary government. And without further ado, let's get into this. So the first episode we're gonna look at is War of the Dinobots, where we get introduced to 2 more Dinobots, and where we get to see what happens if the Dinobots actually switch sides. Without further ado, let's get into this. So the episode starts out with Chip Chase and another scientist discovering a meteor that they can't get a reading on, so they call upon the Autobots to go check it out for them.
Well, meteor or no meteor, Optimus Prime, it's great not worrying about the Decepticons for a change.
Spike, we're less than 2 minutes into the episode. I really don't think you should actually be saying that right now. And as it turns out, my intuition is correct, because Megatron is plotting to deal with the Dinobots after they've really been kicking his team around the last time.
We must probe the Dinobots for their weak points, and when we have found them, strike.
So Megatron sends Soundwave to go spy on the Dinobots, right as the meteor crashes, and the Autobots take a sample of the meteor to go study it, and they head back to Autobot base, and leave the Dinobots to guard the meteor, and Chip has an idea for some new Dinobots.
A Stegosaurus is a great model for the first Dinobot. But for the second, how about giving the Autobots a little extra flying power? A Pteranodon.
Excellent choices, Chip.
And Soundwave finds something interesting about the Dinobots.
Me Slag want to fight enemies. Optimus strong, but me Grimlock stronger.
Me Sludge, obey strongest leader. Always obey.
Which, I find this really interesting because it shows that the Dinobots have this might makes right mentality and not quite the typical Autobot mentality of protecting all life, which I think is really interesting. And I also do like how the Dinobots are easily fooled and how they are kind of just all brawn and no real brain. Anyways, so Soundwave reports back to Megatron that the Dinobots are actually incredibly easy to fool, and the Decepticons go to where the Dinobots are, and I'm just gonna show you this scene here because I think it best describes how easily fooled the Dinobots are.
Why do you fight Dinobots? Because you are ordered to by your master, Optimus Prime? I do not wish to fight you. You are stronger than I, just as you are stronger than Optimus Prime. You are stronger than all the Autobots, and whoever is strongest should lead. Me Grimlock stronger? Me Grimlock must lead. Optimus Prime is leader now. He will fight if Grimlock lead. You Slag like fight, yes? Yes! You Sludge, you follow Grimlock?
Me Sludge, follow strongest leader.
What have you decided? Words make sense.
Autobot, no enemy.
Optimus Prime will be destroyed!
So the Decepticons steal the meteor, and at Autobot base, they find out that the meteor is actually incredibly unstable, so Optimus Prime goes to destroy the meteor. But meanwhile, at Autobot base, they create the other 2 Dinobots, Swoop and Snarl, and during test trials, they absolutely destroy the Autobots. And I mean, the Dinobots were really thorough, as you can see here. Anyways, so Optimus Prime goes to try to destroy the meteor, but finds the meteor is gone. And also finds out that the Dinobots are extremely hostile to him for some reason. And the Dinobots end up defeating Optimus Prime, and for some reason don't kill him. And instead, they decide to take him prisoner and take him to Megatron, who has this to say about that.
Why does Optimus Prime still function?
Me, Grimlock, destroy him when me, Grimlock, say time is right.
Which, I find this interesting because it shows that despite the fact that Grimlock has this might makes right mentality, he still is an Autobot and still isn't going to, like, kill Optimus Prime even though he is beaten. Anyways, so the meteor is becoming more and more unstable as Megatron and the Autobots are finding out, and the Autobots also find out that the meteor has been moved, and they send in Swoop and Snarl to help investigate the meteor. And they fight the OG Dinobots, and Optimus Prime, right as the meteor is about to explode, risks his own life to save Grimlock, which causes Grimlock to do this to Megatron.
You, Megatron, tricked us. Make us fight good leader, Optimus Prime. Prime risk own life to save us. Bad Megatron!
Decepticons, retreat! Now, quick at once!
And all is forgiven because the meteor was destroyed. And overall, I will say War of the Dinobots is a very good episode, and I like the story of how the Dinobots are actually stupid enough to fall for the Decepticons' plan. And I also think it's a good introduction to the final two Dinobots, Swoop and Snarl. And I also like how Optimus Prime, even though he got betrayed by Grimlock, was still willing to risk his life to save him. And I also like how Grimlock, seeing how good of a leader Optimus Prime is not really happy at Megatron and wants to punish him severely. And I think with that, on to the next episode, which is A Plague of Insecticons, where we get introduced to the Insecticons. Without further ado, let's get into this. So, the episode starts out in this place in Bali, Indonesia, called the Demon Swamp, which makes me wonder, why would you go into a place so uninvitingly named, like, I don't know, the Demon Swamp? That kind of would be like me going into, I don't know, the Death Forest or something and expecting cotton candies and rainbows or something. Where the kind narrator tells us a lot about this area known as the Demon Swamp.
On the tropical island of Bali lies an ancient and mysterious expanse of watery jungle known as Demon Swamp, where a strange new form of robot now stalks the unwary traveler.
The farmers are minding their own business, trying to get their food back to their farms, when suddenly they are attacked by the Insecticons. And the Insecticons are attacking these farmers here to basically steal their food for energy. Which, I will say, I really like how the Insecticons in this setting are kind of thought more of as, like, some kind of cryptoid, like, I don't know, Wendigo or Bigfoot, and kind of just, like, some sort of local myth, and not really something that is, like, say, I don't know, an alien robot from another planet. But luckily, the farmers escape, but the Insecticons hear something about a farm. Luckily, the farmers managed to get a distress signal out to the Autobots, but unfortunately the Decepticons also end up learning about the Insecticons, and they beat the Autobots to where the Insecticons are. And the Insecticons, meanwhile, are attacking a farm. And the Autobots come in, led by Skyfire, to try to stop the Insecticons. And at first they think it's going to be an easy fight, but then the Insecticons clone themselves into a massive army, so the Autobots are forced to hide. And even more bad news is that Megatron has finally met up with the Insecticons. And just as they are about to kill the Autobots there, well, Optimus Prime and friends arrive just in time, and the Decepticons and the Insecticons are forced to retreat. And then the Decepticons decide to attack another oil rig, while the Insecticons at least try to stall the Autobots, in some very creative ways, I'll add. And after the Insecticons run low on energy, they end up going to the oil rig, where they find an oil tanker to latch themselves to.
Delicious, delicious. And so rich in energy. Hey, what's it, dragon breath?
But then the Autobots arrive at the oil rig, and a fight breaks out between the Autobots and the Decepticons. And Thundercracker gives this great one-liner here.
Exercise extreme caution. We're floating in a potential inferno.
Megatron said to give you a warm welcome.
And then a bunch of clouds show up, which the Insecticons so kindly tell us.
Okay, clap, look, storm clouds. A day is one.
What is that helium-headed grasshopper talking about?
He's talking about the end of the Autobots.
Our enemy is on the ground, not in the sky.
But our weapon is in the clouds, and Bombshell's explosion has brought it to us now. Taste the lightning, Autobot fool! It tastes terrible.
And I even like the one-liner that Wheeljack gave. And the Insecticons continue to wreak havoc until Spike comes across a bit of a discovery.
There's gotta be something we can do before we all get fried! There is! Bumblebee, you've gotta transform!
Perish now!
We're still okay! Optimus, everyone, rubber tires are insulation! The lightning can't hurt you when you're rolling on them!
Okay, I'm not an electrical expert, but I'm pretty sure that would be like me wearing gloves, and all of a sudden I'm immune to nuclear radiation from Chernobyl. I'm pretty sure that's not how it works, because A, rubber is not a conductor of electricity. It actually is used to, make sure electricity doesn't get out. And B, wouldn't the Autobots' mostly metal body be still, affected by the electricity? Anyways, so despite how scientifically impossible I'm pretty sure this is, the Autobots managed to actually beat the Insecticons, but Megatron has something else up his sleeve.
So much for weapons from the sky. I have the most powerful weapon of all, floating in the sea.
And Megatron decides to blast the oil tanker and try to ram it into the oil rig. Optimus Prime creates a massive ecological disaster and oil spill. The Insecticon clones are destroyed by Trailbreaker, and the Insecticons betray the Decepticons by trying to steal their Energon cubes, and the Decepticons give chase. And then this is said.
For once, I wish Megatron the best of luck.
Unfortunately for us, the Insecticons are Decepticons too. And with the same engineering, they won't stay enemies for long.
And overall, I will say that A Plague of Insecticons is a great episode, and I think it's a great introduction to the Insecticons and how they're kind of viewed as monsters and like some sort of folktale by the locals. And I also like how they have a lot of very unique powers that not a lot of the Decepticons actually have. I will say one criticism I have of the episode is that there are some parts that kind of feel like padding. An example is this scene here that I actually didn't mention because I didn't really feel like it was necessary to mention it. And in all honesty, if I didn't have this scene here, the whole plot wouldn't have actually changed. But other than that, I will say that this is a great episode and I highly recommend it. But without further ado, on to the next episode, which is Heavy Metal War, where Optimus Prime and Megatron fight to determine who wins the war. Without further ado, let's get into this. So, the episode starts out on this construction site, where all is well, up until this happens.
Hey, I didn't send for more equipment!
There's nobody driving.
Right! No one drives us, stupid human! We are the Constructicons! We drive ourselves!
And then we find out who these rather rowdy construction people are.
Constructicons! Transform! Foolish man of flesh! If you interfere with us, you will be terminated! We return to our master, Megatron!
So the Constructicons return to Megatron, and we get introduced to their names.
Scrapper, report!
All present or accounted for, noble leader! Scavenger! Mixmaster! Long Haul! Bone Crusher! Hook! And myself!
So the Constructicons are basically the Decepticon construction team, and right now, they are building a massive project for Megatron. And don't worry, we will get to see more of them in Season 2, but I will say that their first episode is a great debut of the Constructicons. Anyways, so Megatron goes to Autobot headquarters with an interesting proposal for Optimus Prime.
Since when have you decided to make yourself a target without fighting back, Megatron?
I have come to talk, not fight, Optimus Prime!
Well, speak, Megatron.
I come about a matter of Cybertron law, Optimus Prime. Our war has gone on for millions of years, Decepticons fighting Autobots, in which opposing leaders, you and I, Optimus Prime, may do battle. The loser must exile himself and his army to deep space for eternity. The winner may stay where he chooses. Do you have the courage for that?
I don't trust him, Optimus.
But it would end the war. And you can take him, Optimus. You're the best. Also, it is the law of our native planet. Very well. I accept the challenge.
Somehow I felt you would, Optimus Prime. You have such a strong sense of honor.
Say, Prime, don't you think it might be a bit of a bad idea to trust Megatron in this situation? I mean, he's only had millions of years of practice in the art of betraying people. Feel like this time he might be betraying you, but hey, what do I know? And as it turns out, my hunch is correct, because Megatron is actually going to use Scrapper's invention to basically give himself all of the power of all of the Decepticons, even though Starscream here says,
I need my power chip rectifier. Besides, the Cybertron Code of Combat requires each warrior to fight as he is, without additional reinforcement. You wouldn't want to cheat, would you, Megatron?
and, well, he gets all the power of the Decepticons.
The strength transfer is a success. I now possess all your powers, in addition to my own. Optimus Prime and the Autobots are finished!
But luckily, Optimus Prime understands that Megatron might, in fact, cheat, so he has Teletran 1 monitor the fight to make sure that it goes fairly. But Starscream, unfortunately, also figures out that Optimus Prime might suspect that Prime, in fact, suspects Megatron of cheating.
The Autobot's computer, Teletran 1. If it detects your deception, it will alert Optimus Prime.
And Megatron, understanding that that might in fact be a possibility, sends the Constructicons to go destroy Teletran 1. Which, Megatron, don't you think Optimus Prime might suspect something if he comes back and finds Teletran 1 destroyed? I think at that point he might know something is up. So, the Autobots and Decepticons go to where Optimus Prime and Megatron will fight to the death, and Megatron and Optimus Prime do a bit of verbal sparring.
Hail Optimus Prime! And welcome to defeat!
Defeat Megatron? But our battle has not yet begun.
As soon as our respective armies take their places, we shall correct that oversight.
And then the Decepticons and Autobots take their seats. And the fight starts in the usual Megatron way of tricking Optimus Prime into shaking hands and immediately starting the fight. And Megatron absolutely beats Optimus Prime here. Like, he thoroughly beats Optimus Prime here with all the powers of the Decepticons with relative ease. And I have to ask one thing. I mean, doesn't Optimus Prime find it a little weird that Megatron is only just now revealing all these abilities? I mean, with all these abilities here, he could practically win the war on his own. Oh, and also, doesn't Optimus Prime think to himself, maybe it's strange that, I don't know, a lot of these abilities seem pretty similar to the other Decepticons, like, I don't know, Rumble here? Anyways, so the Autobots defeated, get ready to head back to Autobot base to go into exile, and the Decepticons follow them to make sure that they stay by their word. And while all this is happening, the Constructicons manage to break into Autobot headquarters, and as they're trying to destroy Teletran 1, this happens.
There's Teletran 1 for Megatron! Destroy it!
No, destroy Teletran 1! Dinobots destroy you!
So, the Dinobots fight the Constructicons, and they really hammer the Constructicons, especially with what Sludge says here.
Sludge not see these Decepticons before?
Not see again either, because we dynamite them to pieces!
And when the Dinobots get outside, they transform and they really start wrecking the Constructicons, up until this scene here.
It's bad news, Scrapper. They've brought out the heavy artillery.
Then it's time we did the same, only heavier. Constructicons, transform! Phase 1! Now, transform! Phase 2!
Prepare to meet your doom. Nothing can withstand the might of Devastator!
Okay, I remember when I first saw this when I was like 8, I think, and when I saw the Constructicons turn into Devastator, I just was thinking to myself, fuck yeah, this is awesome. And don't worry, we get to see a lot more of the Constructicons in Season 2. Anyways, so the Autobots get back just in time to watch as the Dinobots are getting absolutely massacred by Devastator, and they also repair Optimus Prime and find out that Megatron, in fact, probably wasn't telling the complete truth. So they decide that, yeah, their deal is nullified because Megatron cheated. And because their deal is off, they first take out Devastator, and then they really push the Decepticons back. And Optimus Prime faces Megatron with all of his powers in a fair fight, and well, he absolutely curb stomps Megatron. And Spike says this, which given the fact that there's a Season 2, probably means that the war is truly not over there, Spike.
Is it really over, Optimus? I mean, have we seen the end of this war forever?
Who can say, Spike? In this vast universe, is anything truly forever?
And Megatron is, of course, alive and says this.
We shall rise again!
And oh overall, for Heavy Metal War, I'm gonna say that it's the best episode in all of Season 1, and a real great way to go out with a bang for a season finale. I like how it's a great introduction to the Constructicons, and how it's just generally a great introduction for the first Combiner we ever see, and I also like how it shows that Megatron can't actually win in a fair fight, and he will cheat because he's ultimately pretty weak if you think about it. And overall, I will highly recommend you watch this episode. And yeah, I am really excited for Season 2, and I think with that, that's gonna do it for today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.